So this video is gonna take me forever to make because I'm a perfectionist, and when I screw up on one word I like start all the way over, and I'm gonna try this time to just keep going even when I screw up. So, and I screw up a lot, so I'm gonna try and get past that and just keep going. I really wanted to make a video about the story behind what made Sean and I change our mind. Well, not change our mind, but decide to start a family now. We had a lot of friends and family ask because most of them had no idea. Most of them thought we were waiting still, because at the beginning of our marriage we kind of told everyone to just leave us alone about it, because we wanted to just enjoy us two for a while, and so people knew to just leave us alone, although my family was still just liked to pick on us about it. But for the most part everyone knew that we were not interested for a while. I'm gonna say for a lot. Anyways, so it was September of 2016, so over a year ago. We were at a birthday party. Our friends Brett and Mary had a son that was turning 1, so we were at his birthday party. And then after that we went to a church worship thing at our church called Unchained. It's just a couple hours of worship music, and then normally there's like something afterwards. And this time afterwards we were all sitting in silence. I believe we were supposed to ask the Lord something. I don't remember exactly, which that's probably bad, but I just remember we were sitting in silence. And while we were sitting there, I felt the Lord tell me that it's time to start a family. It's nothing you can really explain. For those of you that have experienced it, I know I'm not the only one, but for the ones that have experienced it, there's not really a way to explain it. And you just know. And when after the Lord told me that, I remember thinking like, this might be just in my head, because we were just at a birthday party. There was lots of people our age that had babies or kids, you know, and so I was just like, I think this is just from me. So to make sure, I decided to ask God for a sign, which a lot of the times it doesn't seem to work. I mean, there's a lot of times people ask for a sign from the Lord and he is silent, and it's really frustrating sometimes. But so I thought it was kind of silly, but I decided I should try. And so I asked him, if this really is from you, can you please just give me a sign? And as soon as I finished that sentence, a baby starts screaming behind me. And I mean, it was silent in the church for quite a while. It was just silence, and so it was really crazy timing. And I'm just like, I felt and I knew that really was from God. It's silly, it seems silly, but at the time I knew it was from him. I got goosebumps. I remember looking over at Sean and hoping he was having the same experience, and he wasn't. He was just sitting there, probably sleeping, I don't know. But so we went home that night. I was praying about it. I prayed about it for probably a month, and I still felt the same way. I still felt like it was definitely from God, and I started finding myself wishing that I would get pregnant and wishing that we would have a baby, and that's quite crazy for me to feel. I decided, okay, now I really do need to tell Sean. I realize a month is a really long time to not tell your husband something like that, but I just wanted to make sure before, because Sean and I, we were very happy the way we were with just us two. We knew we would start a family eventually, but we wanted to definitely wait until it was the right time. And we were just happy the way we were with us and our fur babies, and all of our friends knew to leave us alone about it, so we had started to finally like not be bombarded about it, because we had been. So I decided about a month later to finally tell Sean, and to my surprise, he wasn't shocked or wasn't surprised at all. He was very calm about it, and he was totally okay with it. He had told me that the last couple weeks he had found himself feeling like, oh, if Sadie did get pregnant, I wouldn't freak out, or it wouldn't be a big deal, like it would be okay. And that is quite crazy for Sean to feel that way too. So we knew that it was the right time, so we just, although the timing was very weird, our brother-in-law Taylor was currently living with us, and he had just moved in a couple months before this, so, and he was going to live with us for a whole year, so it was weird timing. Like, why would this happen while Taylor lived with us? It just seems weird. But we both knew and felt like it was definitely from God, so we of course listened, and from then on we stopped renting and stuff. So we just left it all in God's hands. And so I was like so excited that Sean was on board with it, because the month of praying about it and stuff, I'd found myself just really wanting it so bad. And so we started trying, and 1 month goes by, 2 months goes by, 3, 4, 5, nothing. And it was just super heartbreaking, because if you know my family, my sisters and my mom, and they literally need to think about being pregnant. They're just like, I think I want to have another baby. Yeah, I think so. The next month they're like, oh yeah, we're pregnant. Like, it's just like, it's ridiculous. And so I was just like, I'm gonna be like them. I was so determined that we would get pregnant like right away. And that wasn't the case, and I had always known something was wrong with me. I've never been regular, just so I'd always known there was something wrong with me, and this just confirmed it even more. Like, I'm definitely not like my sisters, there's something going on. And so 5 months in, I ended up going to the doctor. I ended up having horrible cramps, and it was just like super just ugh. So I was just so sick for like 2 weeks straight. And I knew that I wasn't pregnant because I had been taking many tests. Like, Sean and I ordered those tests on Amazon, just the tiny little cheap ones, and so I had been taking test after test, and I knew that I wasn't pregnant. So I wanted to go to the doctor to figure out what was wrong with me, because I knew something was wrong with me. And I wasn't going for like infertility or anything like that yet. I was just going to figure out what was wrong with me. And so I went to Andrea Wallman, and I was sitting there talking to her about everything, like all the stuff that was going on. And the very last thing, I was like, oh, and my husband and I have been trying for 5 months and still nothing. And as soon as she heard that, she was just like, okay, well, the next appointment that you're going to make is going to be with Susan Stahl, which is the infertility doctor. And I was just like, okay. I didn't realize it was so serious, but all right. She put me on progesterone, which is supposed to regulate me, and I'm supposed to like get my cycle every month, which it did nothing. It was like over 60 some days till it made me get my period, which is not weird for me. That's actually rather quick for me. So I was on progesterone for about 3 months, and then I went to go see Susan Stahl, the infertility doctor. And I was rather frustrated with the whole situation, because I went to the doctor to figure out what was wrong with me, not for infertility reasons, not yet anyways. But Susan Stahl ended up finding out what was wrong with me, which that was maybe the whole plan the whole time. They didn't really make it clear though. And so it was rather frustrating / super scary, because why am I going to the infertility doctor? I'm 26 and it's only been 5 months, which that's not unheard of at all, you know? And I realized people take years, so it made me rather scared, like, oh, it's a lot more serious than I thought. So I go to Susan Stahl after being on progesterone and it not working at all, and we find out that I have PCOS. She had to do an ultrasound, found a bunch of cysts on my ovaries, and which PCOS is super common, and after finding out that I had that, it was even more heartbreaking because it's like the #1 cause of infertility in women. And so I was just like, what in the world? Like, God made it so clear to me. I just know that it was from God, and why is all of this happening? Like, I was just so very frustrated. So Susan Stahl actually ended up putting me on birth control to try and shrink the cysts, the ones that I did have, and so that was rather frustrating, being on that for a month when it's just like, this is not what I want at all. I don't want to be on birth control at all. Like, this is the opposite of what I want. But I realized that we had to take care of, or like help at least, what was going on before before getting pregnant. And so I realized that I had to, but it was still like super frustrating because it was just like, this is the opposite. And then I started finding myself doubting that this whole thing was from God at all. I was just like, this really was just in my head. The whole thing was just all in my head. This wasn't from God at all, because why would all of this be happening? Why would I have PCOS, the #1 cause of infertility in women? Why would I be dealing with all of this if this is really what God wanted, if he really wanted us to start a family? And so I started like kind of doubting and getting a little depressed about it. And so I was on birth control from May till June. And then in June, the end of June-ish, I think, we went to a Bethel worship night in the cities. Amanda Cook and Havla Cunnington were going to be there, and I just love those two so much. So I was super excited about this, and I found out that our friends Jeff and Anna were going, and so that was even more exciting because they're the best. Love you guys. And so we met up with them, and we were standing next to them during the whole worship service thing. And Jeff and Anna were a couple that we were pretty blunt with at the beginning of our marriage, that don't bother us about it. We really do want to wait, like, because if you guys know Jeff, you know why we had to do that. You would just know why. I do love you, Jeff. But yeah, so we were rather blunt with them at the beginning of our marriage, like, please just don't bother us about it. And so as far as Anna knew, we weren't trying at all. And a couple songs into the worship service, Anna leans over to me and whispers, God told me that if you want a baby, all you have to do is ask. He's not withholding anything from you. And I remember just being just in shock, like, that Anna didn't know that we were trying. There's no way that this is just Anna. This is definitely from God. And so I was just in shock. I couldn't believe it. So then on our way home, I told Sean everything, which he saw everything go down, but he couldn't hear. It was loud. But he saw that something was going on. So I told him the whole story on the way home. And we were just like, okay, all we have to do is ask. So we decided that night as we were going to bed, just like, we prayed about it, and we're like, okay, can you give us a baby, or will you? And up until this point, we had been praying about it. The whole year we had been praying about it, but we were just praying about it like, oh, if it happened, we would be okay with it, or it would be okay. Like, I don't know, we didn't flat out ask for a baby. And so this was our first time just flat out asking. And then 4 weeks later, found out we were pregnant, and that was really exciting. So we went to the doctor a couple weeks later. My phone app had told me that I was about 9 weeks. That's what it guessed, that I was about 9 weeks along. And so when we went into the appointment, they were doing an ultrasound. They were measuring everything, and they were like, oh, it looks like you're actually measuring more at like 8 weeks and a day. And we were like, sure, okay, cool. And so we left from the appointment, and we went to lunch. And don't know why my camera stopped recording. But so after the appointment, we went to lunch, and at lunch we decided to look back to see when exactly 8 weeks in a day would have been. So we were looking at the calendar, and we found the day that it probably was, and we were just like, what? We couldn't believe it. It was literally the next time Sean and I had sex. Sorry, that's TMI, but it was literally the next time after asking God for a baby. It was the next time. It was just crazy. Like, and I don't know why we were both like just so excited about it. We like just couldn't believe it, and I don't know why we were so shocked about it, because really he said he's not withholding anything, so he wasn't withholding anything. Like, I don't know why it surprised us so much, but yeah, that's pretty much the story. We're super excited. But yeah, that's it. I'm really excited about this video because I know years down the road I'm gonna want to watch it and remember all the details and everything, and I know I'm gonna forget details as time goes on. And so I made this video more for me for later on, but also because I've had a lot of friends and family ask, because as far as they knew, we definitely weren't trying. But yeah, so I'm excited to have this later on. But that's it.